Israel and its Arab partners, forming a land bridge connecting Asia and Europe between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Across this bridge, we will lay rail lines, energy pipelines, fiber optic cables, and this will serve the betterment of 2 billion people. Now look at this second map. It's a map. Look at the second map. It's a map of a curse. It's a map of an arc of terror that Iran has created and imposed from the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean. Iran's malignant arc has shut down international waterways. It cuts off trade. It destroys millions, destroys nations from within, and inflicts misery on millions. On the one hand, a bright blessing, a future of hope. On the other hand, a dark future of despair.
He talks about an arc of hope from the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean, with fiber optic cables and oil and gas being piped through from one continent to another. He says that at the same time as we're looking at images of downtown Beirut, population 2 million, very densely populated, urbanized city center, civilian casualties, God knows how many. And he's calling that hope. He's calling the tens of thousands of people in Gaza, maybe many, many more. He's calling that hope. And he's trying to appeal to an Indian audience or a South Asian audience and a European audience by saying, we can get fiber optic cables. Don't worry about these people. Don't worry about the children that have been maimed and martyred and lost their eyes and their legs and their parents. Don't worry about that. I can get you faster fiber optic cable. By any definition, it is the arch rogue state one can think of. They unilaterally develop nuclear weapons. That one thing apparently that if Iran does it, it's evil. They've done it. They did it decades ago. They're occupying land which isn't theirs. They're breaching international laws by occupying more land which isn't theirs and trying to settle it constantly, illegally. They kill the leaders of the political wing of Hamas, in the case of Haniya, when they're in a sovereign territory. They take out diplomatic buildings in Syria. They engage in assassinations on the streets of places like Tehran and Baghdad. This is wanton criminality. And that's before even talking about all of the killing they're doing in Gaza. It is the definition, the dictionary definition of a rogue state. Not only can some people in this country not see that, they see the precise opposite. They think they're the good guys.
I don't see any evidence that there's an uprising in the Israeli public against the genocide. There are lots of protests in Israel, but those protests have to deal with the hostages and relations between the IDF and the government, but they don't have to do with stopping the genocide. I mean, you want to file all of this under the Nazification of Israel. That's where it should be filed. This is a country that's gone completely off the rails. And the more that you see it in operation, the more it looks like the Germans under Hitler. This is just hard to believe. We're talking about eradicating all of the Palestinians in Gaza, murdering them. This is hard to believe. This is the sort of things that the Germans did. It's supposed to be never again. I don't see any evidence that people in Israel believe in the principle of never again. Certainly when it applies to the Palestinians, and people in the West are hardly lifting a finger. This is a categorically reprehensible situation.
So this is the great Max Blumenthal, and we are here in New York City at the time the UN is meeting, and there's all this talk about new countries, some of the big Western countries that have just said they're going to recognize a Palestinian state. So I wonder, Max, what's the importance of that?
Well, why now, first of all? It's like Israel exceeded the limit of permissible slaughtered children, so now we're recognizing a state after over 70 years of ethnic cleansing. Since 1967, there's been continuous occupation, expansion of settlements, and since the state was recognized by some of the former colonial powers, Israel has completely sealed off the West Bank. It's now a prison. Allenby Bridge is closed. Area A is separated. Every city in the West Bank is separated from one another by layers of settler terror and military. And so where will this Palestinian state be?
And they have authorized new settlements to make sure that East Jerusalem and the West Bank are separated.
Right, they've authorized new settlements in E1, which any of the peace processors and the two-state solution supporters recognize is the nail in the coffin of the two-state solution, because East Jerusalem will be cantonized, basically 300,000 Palestinians imprisoned, separated from the West Bank. It's already de facto cut off. So where is the state?
We know that the recognition of the state of Palestine will not feed starving people and will not stop the slaughter, but might it put more pressure on the U.S. and Israel that could be positive?
It will give Palestinian Authority, which does not reflect the full Palestinian polity, a voice on the international stage, and it will generate more pressure for sanctions. It's all in question to me, and I think the most important thing right now is an enforcement mechanism. We're still out here as the only enforcement mechanism. It's coming from the grassroots, and we're not seeing any states actually do anything, which could consist of, for example, banning Israel from the European Football Association, blocking the bombs, all offensive weapons, and the Iron Dome, which allows Israel to conduct a one-way slaughter in the Gaza Strip. We need to cut off the financial supply to Israel, registering AIPAC. I think we need to build a bipartisan coalition in Washington on registering AIPAC and registering all of these organizations or investigating these organizations. So there's a lot we can do to enforce this, and so it feels very much like a hollow gesture at a time when we're witnessing a live stream Holocaust.
When we're at such desperate times to even think, what is an end solution? Is your vision of a solution a one state, one democratic secular state?
We support a one state, which would mean dismantling Zionism. Netanyahu has said that this war will go on for a generation. So we are going to be witnessing continuous warfare. We're going to be waking up to images of other people's children being shredded day after day, as long as Zionism controls a political entity in between the river and the sea. And that is why we're for a one-state solution in which everyone enjoys equal rights. And currently, Palestinians who are not citizens of Israel have no rights. They are basically unpeopled.
As you know, that's going to change the situation is if more and more people rise up more effectively. And I love last night we were at an event with Roger Waters, and he says, make sure you do something for Palestine every single day.
Yeah.
So that's a good message.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like working out. Just do something every day. Just get your anti-Zionist physical fitness in. It's good for your soul.